isn't charged up? Who didn't feel that bolt of adrenaline last week when Jake Elliott made that 61-yard field goal? Now it's a week later, and by God, we better not have a letdown. James Worthington is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. We've got the classic trap game scenario in play. Let's hope the Eagles don't fall into the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely riding an emotional high after last week. I can tell you, being there, that was one of the craziest moments I've ever witnessed at an Eagles game, and you could just see the joy in all the team and all the players. It was crazy. But yeah, that being said, I mean, you know what comes after the potential emotional letdown. And before the season started, this game just had a bad feel to me. I had it marked as a loss. The Chargers losing Verrett's a big thing, which we'll get into. So, I mean, I'm 50-50 on it. I think this is a straight toss-up.
Yeah, dude, I'm scared. I'm scared. This is reminding me of the Lions game from last year. We had the high of beating up on the Steelers. I believe they had the bye right after that. And then you go into Detroit, go into the Motor City, and you lay a dud, and you lose to the Lions. So this kind of reminds me of that situation. At the same time, however, I feel like this team is different. And I say that because, well, if you watch Sunday's game, that was a game that they would not have won last year. To fall down 21-14 after having a 14-0 lead, that team would have crumbled. But they didn't crumble on Sunday. And maybe, just maybe, you know, they can – there's no doubt in my mind this team's going to come out flat. They're going to come out flat. It's going to be ugly to start. I just have that feeling. And it's going to be up to them having the resiliency to come back and win on the road.
Yeah, it very well could be like that. I mean, it's also their first time traveling west, and you saw what happened with Oakland and Denver traveling east last week. They both got upset by, the Redskins and the Bills, who I think are definitely inferior teams to them on neutral sites. I'm higher on the Chargers than most. I think they're better than an 0-3 football team. I mean, you see two of their losses were pretty much kind of unlucky losses. And Phillip Rivers is a talented quarterback. So, the Giants showed last week how to move the ball in this defense. Eli was red hot, and Rivers, I know he's thrown some picks as of late, but if they get the ball out quick, they're going to be able to move it on us too. So, yeah, I mean, if our offense comes out flat, I expect their offense to move it on us. So it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, this is a good 0-3 team. It's the best 0-3 team that's out there. They're better than the Giants, no doubt in my mind. This defense is very underrated. Even without Jason Verrett, they still got a lot of good players. Joey Bosa, Melvin Ingram, probably the, most underrated pass rush duo in the league right now. You still got Casey Hayward as one of their corners. He and Verrett, talk about underrated. That's the top cornerback duo, though. It's underrated in the league. Unfortunately, Verrett is down, and that's a huge injury for them because Travar Williams, however you say his name, is going to be their second starter now. He's a second-year kid from Penn State. He was a practice squad guy that got activated to the regular roster. He's young, and I would think because they don't shadow receivers that Alshon Jeffrey is going to get a healthy dose of him on Sunday.
I mean, I hope so. That would definitely be good for the Eagles. And, he didn't play horrible last week. He had a big pass interference call, that he basically drew. But I want to see them get Alshon more involved in the offense. I was looking for it in week one, getting him involved early and often. It didn't really happen. He had a pretty good game against Kansas City. But we haven't really seen that game where he kind of, breaks out. Is that, number one receiver we signed him to be. He hasn't come down with any of those 50-50 balls yet, but that we talked about, that was basically one of the best things he does. So this is a perfect game for him to do that, especially if he gets lined up against Williams there.
Yeah. I've got some stats on Jeffrey. Let's see if I can pull them up real quick. Because I've been writing up my preview today for Philly Influencer, so I got a bunch of nuggets for this show. So, Alshon Jeffrey, in the first three games, he's had to go up against some really good cornerbacks, Josh Norman, Marcus Peters, and last week, Janoris Jenkins. And against those three guys, against top-notch cornerbacks, he's actually not faring very well right now. Let's see. God damn it, where is it? I had a number and I can't find it right now. But I'll say this: he's racked up 14 receptions for 186 yards and a touchdown through 3 games right now. Some people are complaining about those numbers, but I'll tell you what: there's been 2 instances where he's run free down the sideline and Carson Wentz has missed him. So as bad as those numbers look for some people, they could be 100 yards higher if Carson Wentz would hit his deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely been one of my biggest disappointments I've seen in Wentz early so far. After week 1, I was like, I think it was just a bad game with it. I think it'll get better. But you see him consistently struggle with it. And it's a little concerning to me. I don't know. It wasn't the best last year, but it looks worse this year than last year. I don't know if it's because he tweaked his mechanics a little bit or what, but I mean, he's got to hit these deep balls, man, or else nobody's going to respect us. What's the point of even having Torrey Smith if we're not going to be able to hit him? And those could be game changers. Like it's really concerning. And the guy beating himself up, or Wentz is beating himself up more than anybody else is. He's really hard on himself, and he knows he can make the throws. So, I mean, I'm bullish on Wentz, but I think I think he's going to start to hit him. But it's definitely something. It's a cause for concern right now.
Well, Brendan and I did the film study yesterday, and we looked. We wanted to see if anything was wrong with his mechanics, if there was anything going on, and we didn't see anything. He's just missing it right now. He doesn't have the touch on the deep ball. He's got to work on it. It comes with repetition. It comes with practice. So it's encouraging that it's nothing mechanical. It's just he just got to practice it. He's got to get better at it. Simple as that. So that's the encouraging thing, and I am. I would think that it would get better over time. So statistically, he's only hitting on 25% of his deep passes. 4 of 16 on passes 20 yards or more downfield. He only attempted 1 deep pass last week. So more emphasis on the running game, took a lot less shots downfield. So that's crazy to think that in the first 2 weeks, they took 15 shots down the field, 20 yards or more on the deep balls. So there you go. But 4 of 16?
Yeah. Nah, not good. No, my thing was I was saying maybe because he tweaked his mechanics in the offseason, it might have he might have gotten worse with the deep ball. I don't know.
Muscle memory.
It might have messed him. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But who knows? I mean, I never played quarterbacks, but I think the smallest tweak, could definitely change things. But I mean, yeah, Doug Peterson wants to be aggressive. He wants to push the ball down the field, and the offense definitely wants to do that, especially Carson. So, I mean, you expect with someone with a high ceiling as him that he'll get it down. But, I mean, and we forget, like Eagles fans, it's only his second season. So, I mean, if you compare him to how Big Ben looked, which is everybody's favorite comparison, I mean, I'd say Wentz has looked better than Big Ben had in his first, 19 games. Yeah. I mean, they were winning kind of despite him. Yes, he was making plays, but I mean, look what Wentz has been asked to do. So we're nitpicking here, but if this is going to be a playoff team, and if they play to their peak, which I honestly think they can, and this season we've gotten some lucky breaks. Wentz has got to be better than he was last week, and I kind of expect him to play pretty good this game.
Listen. I'm going to nitpick him. It's going to happen. If you want to be an elite quarterback in this league, you got to get better at some shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to nitpick.
I know, 100%.
All right. Everyone gets all riled up. Well, if you take any shot at Carson Wentz, by God.
You're right. Yeah, but I mean, that's what we talked about it last week. You got to hold him to a higher standard because that's how good he can be. And that's how good you and I think he will become.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So some other things. Because the cornerback situation is kind of a mess, I think that actually opens up a lot of things for even Nelson Agholor. So that cornerback that I talked about, he was their nickel guy. So now he's going to be their outside guy. He started last week. He actually wasn't that bad. I've watched all 3 Chargers games, and it scares me even more that we have to play this game after watching these 3 Chargers games because, hell, they should have won 2 of them. So they should be 2-1 right now. So Nelson Agholor, I'm looking at him in the slot maybe. We'll see because he's disappeared after week 1. Desmond King's probably going to be their slot guy, 5th round out of Iowa. Had a good preseason, but really hasn't played a lot since. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always, happy if there's a rookie corner going against us. I mean, the Eagles do like to work the middle of the field again. We touched on it last week. So, I mean, Aguilar, I think he only had like 2 catches. He didn't really do much. But again, like the Giants' defense is legit, but so is the Chargers. So, I mean, I think them missing Verrett will be huge. I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting like a huge game from Aguilar, but I think he could be a guy for us this season that comes up big on third down, works the slot. Him and Ertz kind of will be those guys. Ertz already has been. I mean, he's been really good except for that scary fumble.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so the running game. Okay. So they moved to 7-1 under Doug Peterson's tenure when they run the ball 30 times or more. Look at this Chargers defense. On paper, the defense looks really good. But like the Giants, they haven't been able to stop the run. So 4.7 yards per carry allowed. And they lead the NFL in missed tackles. So this is a recipe to run the football again. The offensive line looked absolutely tremendous last week. Jason Kelce, he takes a lot of shit and heat here in Philly. Well, he was the MVP in that game last week.
Oh, he played phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I was so impressed with how he played. I mean, when Wisniewski was in there too, that I loved how the line looked with him in there. Warmack kind of started slow, but he actually even got better as the game went on. But no, I mean, for all the shit we give Kelce for being undersized, not being able to run block, damn, did he have a good game. I mean, that Corey Clement touchdown, that was a beautiful block on the outside by him. Unbelievable. And you and I are big Wisniewski fans, so they better start him. And I don't want to really see Warmack in there. I mean, I think Wisniewski flat out earned the job, and with him in there, it's a different line. It's a veteran offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, if you know football and you watched that game last week, you'd know that Jason Kelce was the MVP because every pull he executed it flawlessly, and that touchdown run. You're a lineman. You're a former lineman, so you'd understand this. Do you know how difficult it is to pull and then seal and hook the way that he does?
It was
tremendous.
It's beautiful hand placement on him, on his part. It's beautiful hip swivel. I mean, he really uses leverage and technique, and that's what he has to do. He says it because he's undersized. He has to be perfect. And I mean, it seems like the crap he's gotten has kind of lit a fire under him. He looks like a different player this year. I really like that. I mean, I appreciate guys who respond well to criticism, and he certainly has. And for someone to be as technically sound as he was Sunday, I mean, you know how much time he puts into that. That takes a while to get that good.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you noticed this like I did, but the way that they were kind of working it, Chance Warmack was in when LeGarrette Blount was in, and they were running the ball from under center. And then Wiz was playing when they were running the outside zone, the sweeps with Smallwood and Clement. But honestly, the way Wiz looked, sure, Chance Warmack was pushing people back in the running game when Blount was in there, but he was also giving up sacks.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would just start Wiz, and that's it. I wouldn't play both of them.
I mean, I agree with you. I would start Wiz. I mean, I trust him more. I think he's going to be more consistent. Yeah, he might not be the big mauler that Warmack is, but then again, like I saw a couple runs where Warmack ended up on a linebacker, but it's because he whiffed on a couple times too. So, like, I mean, I think you just got to roll with Wiz. I kind of think it would give Wentz more confidence too. I mean, that's a veteran guy protecting on the inside with Kelce. I mean, I just trust Wisniewski more. I mean, he played good last year. I was kind of surprised that they didn't really give him much of a chance to earn the starting role. They kind of just handed it to Somali right away.
Yeah.
So I hope they roll with him, but I mean, we'll see. You did talk about them potentially switching week, so maybe.
Look at that. See? I'm a genius, man. I called that shit. Nobody was talking about that. Nobody.
Yeah, man, right on the money. Right on the money. I mean, I can't complain. I'm glad we ran the football. We looked a lot better, and it was much needed. It was nice seeing LeGarrette Blount run over some people too. It's been a while since we had that here.
Yeah. Dude, well, the reason why I call it was I know that we're trying to emulate the Patriots. That's what we're trying to do here in Philly. That's what the whole ownership group is trying to do. Yeah. So if they're trying to copy the Patriots, well, there you go. That's what they do. So switch up their linemen. All right, moving on. So the blueprint hopefully was not set last week, but All right, so I talked about it in the preview too. We all talked about it. That offensive line of the Giants, it's a shit show, and the Eagles' defensive line coming in 8 sacks. Well, they didn't get to Eli Manning once because Eli Manning was getting the ball out quick, really, really quick. I think it was like 2.46 seconds was the actual number, which is ridiculous. So they're doing what they did last year. Teams were doing this last year, and Jim Schwartz never was able to adjust. And we saw it again on Sunday. So I understand he played a soft zone. I can get it because of the safety situation. But by God, that shit was soft.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get physical with the receivers at that point. I get it, too, because, I mean, Odell, I mean, he's a scary player to have to scheme against. Also, Brandon Marshall, I mean, he looked better, too. But, yeah, I mean, that looked like the blueprint to move the ball in this defense, and it worries me because – I mean, we're going to need Jalen Mills to step up. I thought he played good. I'm not saying he didn't, but it's not like he's playing at an all-pro level. And, I mean, you kind of need at least one press man shutdown corner to be able to stop these short and side stuff. I mean, the strength of this defense is the pass rush. We said it before. The pass rush is going to take us as far as we're going to go. If you scheme around it, I mean, I don't think we have the talent on the field to really – stop a team like the Chargers if they're going to do that, unless, Short's going to have to scheme something up, man. But I think a lot of that was game plan too. I don't think they really planned for the Giants to do that. And I think, they'd be dumb to not expect the Chargers to pretty much do the exact same thing. It worked last year. It worked Sunday. Why won't it work again? They haven't proven it.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like Phillip Rivers who gets the ball out as quick as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought he's an underrated quarterback. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. And it's just, I don't know. This game has I saw it when the schedule came out. It just has a feeling around it. Like, this is a game that they can win, they should win, and they might not. So I'm still, like I said, I'm 50-50 on it. But, yeah, I don't feel as good about it as I did last week. I'll tell you that.
Let's get into Jalen Mills. Because teams have been targeting him at like an all-time high. It's ridiculous. Targeted 21 times last week. The most a corner has been targeted in 10 years. Wow. So 15 of those 21 targets were caught for receptions, 9 of them by Odell Beckham for 78 yards, 2 of them for touchdowns. Now, the mark that is encouraging, no reception allowed was more than 14 yards, and the total accumulation of the yards after the catch, I believe, was, what was the number? 23 yards? Do you remember what it was, James, what I told you?
I think you said it was 23, yeah.
23 yards. So at the end of the day, when I watched that game back, and I actually went and looked at all 21 targets today, he didn't play bad. It's an assumption that he didn't play well because of all the yards that he gave up. But if you look at the 2 touchdowns, the coverage was good, but Odell Beckham does unreal things. That's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, that second catch was absolutely out of this world. Only he makes that catch. It was absolutely insane. I mean, Jalen Mills he didn't get beat in coverage that much. I mean, the stats you just gave show he's on the receivers. It's just Eli was putting it in tight windows, and he's thrown it an all-class receiver, and Mills shadowed him, I think, pretty much the whole game, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, I went back when I left the game because I was there, and I had my fun. Said we were leaving, and we were all happy and everything. But I do like to rewatch it again, Monday or Tuesday because it's just when you're there, it's different than seeing it at home. And I was a little disappointed. Like I walked out of that game thinking, we kind of played like shit. We almost gave the game away. And yes, we did not play our A game, but we didn't play bad. I mean, the defense. They were competitive, and I liked what I saw out of our defensive backs. Rasul Douglas, for a rookie corner, after how he looked in the preseason, he's looked great. Patrick Robinson, I mean, I thought they were going to cut him. I wanted them to cut him. I mean, and Jalen Mills has improved a lot. So, I mean, one thing that comes to mind is wait till we get Darby back with how these guys have stepped up and played. I mean, that's going to be exciting. But, I mean, the biggest guy we're going to have to stop, we got to worry about Keenan Allen, and I'm going to assume Mills is going to pretty much cover him a lot too. I mean, Keenan's not like a fast guy. He's a good route runner. He's a possession receiver. So I think Jalen Mills will have some success, but I mean, it's going to be tough to completely shut him down with as much as Rivers forces Keenan the ball. And we also got to worry about their two tight ends. Yeah. Gates is old, but he's still pretty good. And Hunter Henry, I mean, I know he's had 2 games with no catches, but he's a pretty good young tight end too, and that kind of scares me a little bit. So, getting Cox and Hicks back, we need them this week. If we're missing either of those guys, it's going to be an issue.
The thing about the Chargers is not only do they have 4 solid receivers, they also all do something different. So you got Keenan Allen, he's like that possession guy, and you got Travis Benjamin, he's your speedster, he's going to blow the top off your defense, and then you got Tyrell Williams and Dontrell Inman. So you got 4 different guys, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen out of Patrick Robinson. I'm encouraged by what I've seen out of Rasul Douglas. So I'm hoping that they can keep these guys in check. But then you look at a guy like Phillip Rivers, and you talked about it with Eli Manning and how precise and how accurate he was last week. Well, Phillip Rivers can do that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he could do it better than Eli. When Eli's hot, he's hot, and he was hot last week. But, I mean, Phillip Rivers is I think, is more talented than Eli, in my opinion. I mean, it's kind of – yeah, I mean, they're both great quarterbacks. But it's going to be scary. And the Chargers, they're 0-3. Like, this is it. If they lose this game, their season's over. And they were kind of a sneaky playoff pick by a lot. I mean, myself included. I thought this was a playoff roster. So the offense does scare me the way I think our defense, our defense is good. They play really physical. They're competitive, but it just, I don't know. This game, I don't know what it is about it, man, but it just has a weird feel. Like, I think you might have hit it right on the head. They're going to come out slow. And if they do on the road, on the West Coast, that does not bode well.
Yeah. I got that feeling that they're going to start slow, but like, I also feel that this team is different than last year. It's more resilient than last year, so they might be able to come back.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't count them out. I mean, they are it. They're a different team. I mean, they showed it last week. And they play hard for Doug. They really do. And I think we have good veteran leadership. I think Carson Wentz, his leadership qualities are overlooked by a lot of people. People just will say he has good intangibles, but like, look at the effect he's had. Like, I don't know. This team has they seem like they really enjoy playing with each other, for each other. You can see it, how happy they were when the game was over, when the kick went in. It was crazy, man. So yeah, I mean, if they go down early, I'm not going to count them out, but it's going to be on Carson to bring us back. And the thing that's like kind of sketches me out is if we're down and we start passing, Bosa and Ingram or Melvin and Ingram are going to freaking pin their ears back, dude. And I know we have great tackles, but dude, that's a lot to go up against them all game. You lose twice in a game, that's 2 sacks allowed, and it's a bad game for an offensive lineman. So it's going to be pretty important for Lane Johnson and Jason Peters to have good games.
And Melvin Ingram is also second in the league right now, 5.5 sacks. So big time. You know who's leading the NFL in sacks right now?
Isn't it DeMarcus Lawrence? Isn't it him?
It's Lawrence of the Cowboys. I said during the offseason that he's a really underrated player, and some Eagles fans didn't want to hear it. And now he's proven me right, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, no Eagles fan wants to hear that the Dallas Cowboys good. I mean, we're very biased against them, but you got to be on. I mean, Dallas, could get into them for like a minute. They're a solid team. They're going to be there. I mean, yeah, everybody predicted a little letdown by them, but this division is going to be a dogfight. Washington looks better, so it's important that we win games like this that are out of the division because we're probably going to lose 2 games in the division. Maybe. I mean, every team's good. The Giants are better than 0-3. I think getting Odell back, they look like a different team. So if we go into this game, if we come out with a win in LA, that's going to make me really think this is a playoff team. I'm there, but I'm not like division championship there yet. But this weekend could get me there.
There you go. All right, let's talk about Melvin Gordon a little bit now. So he is a guy that had struggled for 2 games. And then he kind of got going last week, and then he left the game. But I think he's going to play this week. So The big injury for the Eagles is going to be Fletcher Cox. So he's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, according to Les Bowen.
Oh, really?
With a calf injury.
I
So
didn't see that.
yeah, so he's going to be out. At least that's what it's out. Now, there's no report out there saying that he's definitely out, but Bowen is saying 2 to 3. His teammates are saying 2 to 3 weeks. So that's the report right now, or that's what's being said. So now the thing is I believe that the Eagles' defensive line is so stout, and there's so much depth that they'll be able to overcome it. Obviously, Fletcher Cox is an elite talent, but it's not like Bo Allen can't come in there and not hold his own.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, Bo Allen, he's good against the run. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't expect us to have too many issues stopping Melvin Gordon in the run. I mean, we might have issues with the screen game. If he gets outside, he's pretty athletic and shifty. But, I mean, he hasn't really averaged that many yards a carry at all, and not even last year, and it was his breakout year. It was just a lot of touchdowns, a lot of volume. Excuse me.
Not a good offensive line. It's not a good offensive line.
They're not that good up front, but, I mean, neither were the Giants. So they didn't really run the ball too well on us, though. I mean, obviously, their run game's pitiful. But I'm not too worried about stopping the run. I'm really not. I think this is going to be an elite run defense for the majority of the season. I mean, they might have a game or two where they kind of, lay an egg. But look at the front seven. I mean, it's, again, like I said last week, find me a better front seven. And even without Fletcher Cox, that's a 7-man rotation up front. Qualls has put in some quality minutes too. So, I'm not too worried. But, yeah, wow, if he's out 2 to 3 weeks, man, that sucks because him and Jernigan together, they've been playing really good next to each other.
Yeah, Jernigan has looked fantastic.
Getting upfield finally, man. It's about time you got in a good scheme for him.
In the perfect scheme, and that's the show that we did in the offseason as well. So when you take – this is a stat that we looked at last week, and I put it in my preview for Philly Influencer that will be out tomorrow, so make sure you watch it. Or not watch it, read it. Yeah, read it, click on it, engage. So exclude the 53-yard touchdown run by Kareem Hunt in Week 2. Eagles are allowing just 3.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that, I think, last week, that if you pretty much took that out, they're right there in the top 10, I think. And, I mean, yeah, obviously the Giants can't really run the football, but the Redskins have been kind of showing a little more life in the run game. I mean, I think Robert Kelly's averaging like 4.5 yards a carry or something. So we did pretty good against them Week 1. And, yeah, you take away that Kareem Hunt run, and we're fine. So I think that yards per carry average will continue to go down as the season goes. I mean, we do have, at least in years past, this defense had a propensity to give up big plays, but it was mostly through the air. So I think that Kareem Hunt was just more of an outlier. So yeah, I mean, I'm not, again, like I think we're going to be pretty solid against the run. I'm not too worried about that. It's just the short dink and dunk, quick 2-second release passes, man. Like those could be the end of us. But if we get McLeod back too, maybe we'll press up a little more and because Rasul Douglas is physical, man. He wants to be physical, so I'd like to see what he can do.
Rodney McLeod returned to practice today, practiced fully, so I think he's going to be good to go. If he's practicing already fully, he's going to be all right. So they didn't even.
Hicks, have you heard about anything about Hicks?
I think he's going to be good to go as well. I don't remember if he practiced today or not, but yeah. So if you guys don't know it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is when the team comes out with injury reports. And essentially, if you see a guy limited in practice all week, he's going to be questionable for the game time decision, all that bullshit. But if you see a guy, obviously, Rodney McLeod practice fully, you'll know that he's ready to go. If you see like limited Wednesday and Thursday, but practice fully on Friday, he'll probably be ready to go. So McLeod practiced fully. But I want to get back to our running game. Do you think that Doug Peterson's going to have the patience to run the ball again?
Do I think he will?
Okay. How about this? Let's say we start flat. Does he have the patience?
No. If we fall down this game by 2 scores, if it's in the first quarter, he'll run the football. But, midway through the second, we're down 2 scores. He's going to get pass happy. That's what he's done the whole time he's been here. I mean, even last year, we run the ball like over 30 times against Atlanta, and we come out and we don't run the ball. So I don't know, like, what – he's so unpredictable, honestly. Like, I don't understand if he's just reacting to what people have to say to him. I hope not, because if he is, he should be fired yesterday. But, no, I mean, do I think he will run the ball as much as he did? I don't think he's going to. Do I want him to? Yes, because we're 7-1 when we run the ball. I mean, it's running the football wins games in this league, and it sets up your young franchise quarterback for more success. It sets up the play action. It's a different feel. And this offense, it looked different running the ball. It was physical. It took on a physical kind of presence, and us in Philly, we love that. That's what we want. So, I mean, I wish he would, and I hope he proves me wrong, but, yeah, I don't expect him to run it as much.
Now, the Giants linebackers, aside from Melvin Ingram, aren't very good. And maybe that's why they've missed so many tackles in the running game. So, they lead the NFL in missed tackles. They're also 27th in yards per carry allowed. But they've also faced Jay Ajayi, Kareem Hunt, and C.J. Anderson, who are those three guys are in the top 5 in rushing right now. So maybe the stats are a little bit inflated because of that. But at the same time, I see these linebackers: Jatavis Brown, Corey Toomer, Kyle Manuel. I'm not scared of any of these guys. And you look at the defensive line. Brandon Meebane solid. You got Joey Bosa there, but Corey Leggett's been kind of like declining over recent years. I don't know. The stats say they can't stop the run. That's what they said about the Giants too. So on paper it looks good, but when you look at the stats, it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, like I think we should run the ball. Like I definitely think we should, but it's just I'm not the biggest fan of Doug, and I know you aren't either. And it's just he loves to pass the football. It would be smart for them to run the football early, because if they get something going early, and we score up first on the road, running physically down their throats, that's a statement drive, and that's something that that defense. I want to make that defense not want to come back on the field. That's what LeGarrette Blount wants to do. That's what the O-line wants to do. And I think that's the formula to win the game. But if they do fall behind early, as well as I do that Doug's going to get pass happy. That's how he is. And you're going to be sitting there doing the same thing as me, just shaking your head.
All right.
In spite of him, man, that's what's going to happen this year.
Yeah. Well, don't tell that to some of the people. By God, I've been called a Doug Peterson hater all year. Yeah, if I say the Eagles win despite of him, by God, the flaming keyboard. Oh, you got this one guy that thinks fucking Adam Gase is a joke, and Doug Peterson's better than him.
No, Adam Gase would be very good here. I mean, look what he did last year. He turned around the Dolphins, and I mean, yeah, they looked like shit last week, but they have Jay Cutler as their quarterback. So
yeah, it's not their roster's not good.
No, it's not. And yeah, for them to go to the playoffs last year, that speaks volumes to his. He's an offensive borderline genius. Big Adam Gase. He's really impressive. I wish we had him, but And if we really want to emulate the Patriots, we really did a good job getting our Belichick, didn't we? It's like night and day, man. Doug says way too much. Belichick says nothing, and he's like the mad genius. And Doug's like, I hate to be mean, he's like the village idiot, kind of, man. But he's a good guy, and the big thing is they do play hard for him. That you can't.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
All right, prediction time. What do you got?
Oh man, I've been going back and forth all day, and I really couldn't find myself to pick anything because. If they win this game, it's that people are starting to give them some recognition now, and then power rankings. I don't know if you've seen them across the different sites. They've been ranked as high as 5th, and if they go out and win this game on the road, that's a big statement game. My gut's telling me they're not going to win it. I hate to say it. I don't think the Chargers aren't an 0-4 team. I just don't see it. But I got it 27-24, basically the opposite of last week. It's going to come down to I think the last drive. I think it going to be like a field goal type game. So yeah, I mean back to back 27-24 games, but this time we don't see how come we don't want, unfortunately.
My God, James.
I hate it. But I
might be in agreement.
I'm trying to be unbiased. I really am.
Yeah, no. Hey, I'm about to pick the Chargers too, so we might both be a bunch of idiots.
I hope.
Well, the thing with me is I want to go 16-0 this year. I want to go 16-0. I'm 3-0. I got all the games right, but all 3 games right now have been easy.
Yeah.
First one we run into, I am undecided on. I'm really curious. Do the Chargers want to go back to San Diego? Because it playing in this MLS stadium that holds 30,000 people, and no one goes to these games. They didn't even sell out last week. So, to be honest with you, there's going to be more Eagles fans there.
That's what I've heard too. I've heard that.
There's going to be more Eagles fans there. But you still got the thing with the coming off this high, 61 yards. You got to go all the way out to the West Coast. I'm going to go back to what I said before. All right, I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say that this team comes out flat, and they're going to be down the whole game. And there's going to be one guy at the end. One guy. Ginger Jesus. It's going to be 23-17 with like 4 minutes left, and he's going to drive the Eagles right down the field, and the Eagles are going to win. I just got a feeling because this team showed me something to come back from 21-14 last week. It showed me that this team is different from last year. So I picked them to lose last year when they went to Detroit, and I was right. I was 100% spot on. Now I think I'm going to be right again because they're going to come out flat, but then the difference this time, because they are a different team this year, Carson Wentz is going to lead them to victory. We'll find out Sunday if I'm completely biased or not.
I mean, I hope so, and I could totally see that happening. It's just I had them going 10-6 before the season, and this game was a loss. So I just there's some games you come out flat and can't recover. There's some games they could come back, and it's going to be close. It's definitely not going to. I don't think the Eagles are going to blow many teams out this year. It's just not the type of team they are. They're not. They doesn't feel it. They don't have that kind of feel for them. Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right, and I could see it happening. And if it happens, like I said before, that's a huge statement, and that is the sign that this team took the next step. Last week proved they're different. It proved it's not the same team as last year. I mean, they were I think like 1-7 in one possession games or something, and that Wentz didn't really have success on the late game drives till Baltimore. So I mean, last week he did not have his best game, but he still put us in position to win. So if he comes down and drives us down the field and has a game-winning drive this week, like the Eagles are going to start getting some big attention. Wentz is going to start getting some big respect. And I hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right. I don't usually pick against the Eagles, but just has a weird – I just don't like the way this game feels.
I don't either, dude. I don't either. But like this, my gut at the end of the day is like telling me that this team is different.
I definitely think they're different, man. They are different, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see, man. It's gonna be a dogfight. I know that, and Philip Rivers and his boys do not want to go 0-4. No. But that's huge that they basically can't even get fans to the game. And Eagles fans. There's Eagles fans all over the country.
Oh yeah,
I don't realize that they're all over, and they're just as passionate out on the West Coast as they are here, man.
I'm pretty sure. I think EDP's going to the game. So
really nice.
Yeah. So that's like a quarter of the stadium right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's loud. He should bring like a megaphone or something. Scream on curse words at the refs.
I could just imagine EDP with a megaphone.
Hilarious.
Oh, Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah, telling him what place to call. Oh God. Maybe he'll get some cam time, man. Maybe we'll see him on TV.
Oh shit. I think he's going. I'm pretty sure he's going. I'll have to ask him. Yeah, so all right, so that pretty much wraps it up. I got nothing else on the agenda. Predictions, you got the Chargers, I got the Eagles. This is probably the first time I've picked the Eagles because in my head I've been picking Chargers all week. I even picked the Chargers in my dad's little pool that he does.
Really?
It's a weekly picks pool.
That's weird.
Now, but he has to be due by the end of the day Wednesday. So like my picks always change. Like he gets pissed at me. He's like, "Did you change your pick?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And then like the team that winds up winning wasn't the one I picked for him.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be pissed if the Eagles win.
Dude, that's weird because I literally was like, all right, Verrett's out, like we're winning. Like that's like I don't know why. And then like just the more I've had a chance to think about it, like I don't know. Like
if Verrett plays, we're losing this game. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's just it's a big game because we're at 2-1 right now. If we get to 3-1. That's like 3-1 looks a lot different than 2-2, honestly. Yeah. It's one game, but it's a big swing, honestly, and the way we'll be perceived around the NFL will be different too. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. It's gonna be a hell of a game. I know that. I'll be cheering like crazy for him. I hate picking against the Eagles. Come Sunday, I'll be picking the Eagles like I always do. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope Wentz bounces back. I want to see him. I want to see him hit a deep ball soon, very soon.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I want to go perfect this year, so there's going to be 5 more losses somewhere because this team will probably go 10-6 now, maybe if they win this game. Because I didn't have this as a win before the season. Now I do. So now all of a sudden I got the Eagles going 10-6 now instead of 9-7. So yeah, we'll see.
Yep, definitely, man, definitely.
All right. That's it. That's it for this show. That's James Worthington. I'm Adrian Fedke. We're out.